Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. The San Francisco 49ers don't care about looks, Perna. 48 hours after the Matthew Stafford trade, rumors start surfacing that maybe Kirk Cousins gets traded. The Vikings are willing to deal, and the team most interested in his services? The 49ers. This makes Tom Brady the GOAT of unemployment. Lose to a Brady team in the Super Bowl and your offensive genius of a head coach will deal you like a drug dealer, or simply just be his backup quarterback and look competent, and he will have you shipped out of town. King of taking jobs away, Tom Brady. Goff and Garoppolo, the last two losing NFC QBs in the Super Bowl. Now, it's officially Super Bowl week this week, and nobody cares because every single NFL quarterback is now apparently tradable. The Matthew Stafford trade dominated the news cycle. Deshaun Watson is taking over headlines, and now Kirk Cousins is dominating the Monday NFL news cycle. Is Cousins a good fit in San Francisco? We'll discuss that today, in addition to some more info from the Stafford trade, a little Watson update. J.J. Watt wants to get out of Houston. So a lot to talk about. That's good sports. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I do NFL news updates as frequently as they need to be done. And if you want to support this channel, do it by purchasing my coffee, BenchwarmerBrew.com. Ethically sourced, organic craft coffee beans, really good shit. If you want to save some money on your order, consider subscribing for a monthly donation or bi-weekly donation, whatever you want. And just know, we have partnered with the Faya Foundation, so every order we fulfill, somebody in need gets a meal through that foundation. So when you buy my good coffee, you're doing something good for the world as well, and you get something nice in return. BenchwarmerBrew.com. Check it. Now, Kirk Cousins, as a quarterback, gets more disrespect than any good player at that position in the league. He has the highest on-target throwing percentage in the NFL, ahead of Rodgers and Watson. He finished the last two seasons in Minnesota with a 105 and 107 passer rating, 35 touchdowns to just 13 picks, 26 TDs to just 6 picks in 2019 when Minnesota shocked the Saints in the postseason. He also pushes the ball downfield, keeping defenses honest with an 8.1 and 8.3 yards per attempt over the last two seasons. Those are really good numbers. Cousins is about the same age as Stafford, maybe just a little bit younger, and he has been very healthy throughout his career. Now, Mike Shanahan is the guy who drafted Cousins in Washington after the team traded to get RG3. So it makes a lot of sense that his son Kyle Shanahan wants to honor his father and finish what he started by winning a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins. Kyle also coached in Washington while Kirk was there. But most importantly, you do not move on from the sexiest quarterback in the league unless you know you can win more games with somebody else.
Where I am now, I feel a lot more confident.
Could you say that again? I got lost in your eyes.
Oh, Jesus.
Obviously, over the last two seasons, Cousins became very familiar with the style of offense Kyle Shanahan deploys, as Gary Kubiak was calling plays this last season and meshing his offense with Kevin Stefanski the year before. So it's a good fit for Cousins in San Francisco. In terms of talent, the only real upgrade I see that Cousins receives in the 49ers offense is George Kittle at the tight end position. Maybe a bit better offensive line in front of him, but the Vikings, in my opinion, have two better receivers in Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook is as good as the 39 running backs the 49ers deploy on any given Sunday. So unlike Stafford, I don't think we will see a huge surge in Cousins' production if he does go to San Francisco. The difference will be the Niners' defense returning to dominant form while getting healthy. If they can do that, then yes, maybe Cousins wins more games in San Francisco than with the Vikings. But unlike Stafford, where we're saying he just needs a better place to play, I think Cousins has been in a pretty good spot with the Vikings. Minnesota's defense wasn't nearly as good this last season as it was in 2019, which is why the Vikings missed the postseason. We also know that Kyle Shanahan really wanted Cousins a few years ago when the Vikings signed him to that first fully guaranteed contract ever. Cousins is owed some stupid money over the next 2 seasons with like $31 and $45 million cap hits. And knowing he just restructured his deal makes me wonder if he'd be willing to do that again to accommodate the 49ers if necessary. The real question is, what the hell would the 49ers have to give up to get Cousins? I mean, you would think it's probably 2 first-round draft picks. Would the Vikings also welcome Jimmy Garoppolo like the Lions did with Jared Goff? He'd cost less money at $24 million each of the next 2 seasons, but he can also just be cut with dead cap hits of $2.8 and $1.4 million over the next 2 years. Jimmy Garoppolo's Super Bowl season in 2019 is incredibly similar statistically to what Cousins did in 2019. Jimmy G had 27 touchdowns, 13 picks, 102 passer rating, a 69.1 completion percentage. And trust me, a guy like Jimmy G takes full advantage of a 69.1 completion percentage and 3,978 passing yards, plus 1 closed eyes Super Bowl pick and an overthrow to Emmanuel Sanders that could have got them the victory in the big game. The biggest concern, I think, with Jimmy Garoppolo, though, may be his health. Injured in 2 of the last 3 seasons. That might be the real reason Kyle Shanahan is ready to move on from him. Sure, Kirk Cousins may be a little bit better than Jimmy G, but he also plays in all of the games every year. Now, there are 2 head coaches in the NFL whose quarterback evaluations I trust implicitly. And it's Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay. And I love that they're in the same division. If Kyle wants Kirk and the rumors are out there, get ready to see some shit happen. Prepare for an NFC West featuring Matthew Stafford, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, and Kyler Murray. Unless, of course, Russell Wilson's the next quarterback on the trade block. Now, Matthew Stafford said he'd be willing to be traded anywhere except for New England. You think Matt Patricia left a good impression in Detroit? Stafford was like, fuck it, trade me to Houston, I don't care, just don't send me to the Patriots. Now, I also heard that Stafford preferred Sean McVay and didn't want to go to anywhere but the Rams once he learned they were in the running, so it's hard to say what is true here. Maybe both are true, maybe neither are true. I don't know, but what I do know is players aren't willing to sacrifice enjoying their lives just to play for that winning culture in New England, now that winning culture is a fucking losing culture. The Los Angeles Rams went after Aaron Rodgers before pursuing Matthew Stafford. That nugget also came out over the weekend. I think this is interesting because, for once, what we watched, what the media overhyped, rang true amongst NFL teams as well. It looked like Rodgers was frustrated, beyond repair with the Packers, and the Rams made a call about it, ready to deal. Sure, the Packers said no, but it's kind of crazy to me that teams saw that and tried to make a move for Rodgers. It's like everything I know about quarterbacks, great quarterbacks staying where they are is done, is gone. Now, like I discussed on my podcast, on my second channel, That's Good Broncos yesterday, I think Sean McVay didn't see the evolution he wanted out of Jared Goff. I think he believes Goff plateaued, which is why, with that defensive window open right now, he and the Rams aggressively pursued an upgrade at the quarterback position, and yes, Stafford is an upgrade. Those crazy good defenses only give you a few years before players move on, get old, or injured. Now, the funniest thing I saw all weekend, besides Nick Sirianni's press conference,
the first part of being smart is knowing what to do. We're gonna have systems in place that, because when we can learn our system, less thinking equals talent take over, but we need to have systems in place, and we will have systems.
Was the Houston Texans' new head coach saying Deshaun Watson is and will remain a Texan.
The only thing I knew about this whole situation at that point is that I was being interviewed for this job to be the head coach.
I had no idea why I was being interviewed, but I liked it.
Deshaun Watson's a Houston Texan. He's a quarterback of the Houston Texans.
I was 50% sure David Carr was not their quarterback, and I felt a little bit bad about taking Gary Kubiak's job coming into Houston.
That's all that I was concerned about, and that's all I knew. And whatever was been said about what he wanted to do or he didn't want to do.
Wada wada jida beat what jibba jabba dibba dooba doo.
He is a Houston Texan. I knew he's going to be a Houston Texan.
They told me he's technically their prisoner, so he's not going anywhere.
And the reason I'm in this position today is because
literally nobody else would even take this job.
Figuring out what can I do after talking with Nick and his family to become the head coach of the Houston Texans.
I've never even considered myself head coaching material, but when these dipshits offered me that head coaching money, I took it. Now here's Adam Schefter on local Denver sports radio at a complete loss of words. Adam Schefter, the man of many words, at a loss trying to explain the David Culley hiring.
I think that, look, I can't explain some of the things they've done.
Adam Schefter, not knowing what to say, is like me, not knowing how to write a Phillip Rivers has too many daggum kids joke. Again, no offense to Culley. He seems like a nice guy, and we can't expect him to be truthful in his presser. But Watson and the Texans, that ain't ending amicably. There's something very sinister happening behind the scenes in Houston, and I have ordered the biggest supply of popcorn off of Amazon to watch all offseason. Now, have you ever wondered what Ian Rappaport looks like in a Poison t-shirt talking about J.J. Watt? Yeah, me too, every night.
He's in the last year of his deal, and it just, Mike, it just really makes me wonder, and I know it makes you wonder as well, is this the end for J.J. Watt in Houston?
And I hate to believe that is how Ian Rappaport unwinds with his 6 minutes of free time every evening. Listening to Poison is like eating poison. J.J. Watt being ready to leave the NFL, the only home he knows because it's burning to the ground with no signs of stopping, like an untreated case of chlamydia, does make sense. We saw this coming, but J.J. Watt is Houston sports. He's the poster boy of the NFL, and more intertwined in that city than most star athletes, which is to say, there's not really a word to describe how terribly run the Texans are right now. Dumpster fire doesn't do it justice. Hellscape sounds more like a nice painting than the Texans. A shit tornado hidden inside a diarrhea hurricane, bringing ashore a tsunami of COVID and man-eating sharks? Not even close. The only two-word phrase I can think of to match Houston's incompetence: Colorado Rockies. Now that said, a smart new team with new management would be looking at how much they could save by moving J.J. Watt and or what they could get for Watt and Watson in trades. An organization that wants to keep its star players there against their will instead of embracing the rebuild which they clearly need and to build a team in their own image seems beyond ill-advised. It's very different than what the Packers are saying with Aaron Rodgers, that they won't deal him. That is a relationship that's repairable. The Texans are looking at an open wound and being like, it's fine. I'm sure the bleeding and infection will take care of itself once Jack Easterby prays it away. And finally, Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers have to restructure his absurd $40 million salary since the fat old man refuses to retire. He currently carries the highest salary cap hit of any quarterback in the league at $41.25 million. Then it's Matt Ryan, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff, and then Matthew Stafford. I get when you're a quarterback, you need to sign that massive contract to keep the market high for all NFL players. But these old guys like Matt Ryan and Aaron Rodgers need to take a look at how Tom Brady takes care of his chickens to keep things flexible for the team he's quarterbacking. Marry somebody richer than you so you can take less money to play an NFL quarterback so your team can get you better players. That's the secret. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. We'll keep an eye on Kirk Cousins here. Make sure you click the video on the screen if you would like to watch more of my stupid football videos.